it felt like I burned out and failed at life, and I was going to go to the jungle and figure out what was wrong with me. So I was living in Bali and kind of questioning life. And that's where I was when I tried a weighted blanket. And so when I tried it, um, I can remember it was the middle of the afternoon. It was, in a tropical location, and I just went to sleep. And when I woke up, kind of like 20 minutes later, I felt like I had journeyed far away. I think that in wellness, there's been a trend toward um, like competitive wellness, like how well can you get through all of the modalities and like gear and tech to buy, and like really your body is the true source of wisdom. So you don't necessarily need more to get in connection with that wisdom. Money is energy. I want the money to flow to good people. I want the money to flow to me. I trust myself to do good with the money. And if I want to sit on the sidelines and critique capitalism, it makes no difference to capitalism. But if I participate, I can have a positive influence and offer something to people that is better than what otherwise might be available.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Great Connect podcast. Today, I am super excited to invite you into this conversation with Elizabeth Grojean, founder of Baloo. Yes, we dig into all the amazing benefits and Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Great Connect. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Elizabeth Grojean, founder of Baloo. We're diving into the world of weighted blankets and sleep and so much behind the scenes of bringing this business into the world. Not only is this business an amazing support tool from a holistic health perspective, one that everyone should have in their home, but Elizabeth is the epitome of a conscious entrepreneur, choosing at every moment and stage to build with intention and integrity. And I couldn't be more excited to have you enjoy this. And I couldn't be more excited for you to dive into this conversation, hear what conscious entrepreneurship can really sound like, and how every decision and every product made at Baloo has beautiful intention and love woven into it. Elizabeth helps us understand how weighted blankets have personally impacted her, as well as then how she hopes that the weighted blanket products she produces support more people accessing a greater connection to themselves, the earth, and beyond. Welcome to the conversation. Let's dive in. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome to the Great Connect. I'm so excited to have you here today.
So excited to be here. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. I feel like this is a conversation like long in the works, and I am just elated to be able to dig into all the things and ask you all the questions. So let's do it. Let's start with sleep is a thing that we as humans struggle with quite a bit these days.
Mm-hmm.
So that is clearly a passion point for you. So tell me, like, why did sleep become so important to you? How did you kind of get to this moment of, I need to help people have better sleep?
So funny enough, sleep has been like, I feel like my superpower my whole life. I've been someone I can remember taking a nap in a corner sitting up at the Louvre in Paris. I could sit sitting up on a plane. So for me, I haven't struggled with sleep. And when the few times that I have felt like a profound empathy for how challenging and how difficult it is when you can't sleep. And I think I'm going to start rambling right away. But like one thing that I think has been happening is that people are becoming a lot more conscious and aware of how important it is to sleep and how to prioritize sleep. And that also adds then to the anxiety or the stress when you can't sleep and you're trying to do better at that. So, yeah, it's a very important pillar of health, and there's so many reasons, which I'm sure we can talk about more in this conversation. But the way that I got started in this business with Baloo is really a meandering, winding journey of personal discovery and exploration. So I was on a sabbatical. I had decided to take a sabbatical. It didn't feel great at the time. It felt like I'd burned out and failed at life, and I was going to go to the jungle and figure out what was wrong with me. Why was this happening? Why did I feel this way? What was it that I was looking for? All of the existential life questions. And in that process, I really found myself deprogramming a lot of the conditioning from our culture. I think of productivity and drive and accomplishment, achievement and measurement and all of those things, and kind of came back to myself and my body and back in sync with my nervous system, back in sync with the sun and the moon, going to bed when the sun was down and waking up when the roosters crowed, and all of these very romantic, simple and profound at the same time kinds of things. So I was living in Bali and kind of questioning life. And that's where I was when I tried a weighted blanket. And so when I tried it, um, I can remember it was the middle of the afternoon. It was, in a tropical location, and I just went to sleep. And when I woke up, kind of like 20 minutes later, I felt like I had journeyed far away. Like it had taken me out in such a deep way I wasn't expecting. And
Yeah.
I was just really moved by that experience of feeling so profoundly relaxed. And I had already been on a journey of relaxation. And it felt like a way that other people could have an experience somewhat similar to the one that I had been having in a more holistic way through a product in the lives, meeting them where they are. So for me personally, it was more about feeling safe and at home in my body, which is something that naturally helps us relax and deepen into sleep. And only at that point did I begin to learn how impactful sleep is for our overall health, and not only physical, but mental health, emotional health, well-being, and all of those things. So then it was like a mission then to share this experience with other people.
I love that. I adore this like component that it's like I slept well and then I didn't realize that I could actually have more benefits because of how I could feel in my body and simply the connection to my body through I'm just having this sensation for myself of um when I put a weighted blanket on, it's like, oh, there's my body. I kind of forget that I'm like in it sometimes and that it's like working with me. And it creates that sensation of, oh, okay, here I am.
I mean, even though I say I'm a super sleeper, I can sleep, but then there's also a quality of depth of sleep. So even though your brain shuts off and you go to sleep, there's this dropping in deeper to deeper rest and deeper quality of restoration that can happen. And I think that we in our society are running on so much cortisol, and it's really hard chemically to make that shift. Then to get this real sleep at night, this is another reason why it's so helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I love what you said about meeting people where they are because so often, yes, it is amazing to go to Bali and be immersed in that experience. And so many people are doing retreats and these
Yeah,
immersive experiences. And then, whap, you're back in the real world or our real
totally.
world.
Yes.
And it's like, and how do I, wait, this
Hold
was
on.
good. How do I
Yeah.
even try to integrate that? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that I was very conscious of the gift that I had in taking that time, that I was at a point in my life where I didn't have dependent children, I didn't have dependent parents, I didn't have financial obligations that were holding me back, and that I was able to do that. And I'm also now back in the States and have been running my business here as a small business entrepreneur for 8 years. And I have a small child, and like I'm definitely in the thick of modern life. And I'm scratching my head going like, wait, what happened?
Wait a
For a
minute,
long time now.
here.
Yeah.
I
Um,
am.
so
Can
everything
I
that
say
I'm saying
yes?
to myself.
Yeah, yeah. I resonate with that deeply because I repeat to myself and to others around me, but more for myself. I will not burn out building a health and wellness business. I will not burn
Mhm.
out building a health and wellness business, right? Because it's that modern world that has conditioned us into a certain way of doing it. And how do we integrate these tools and check ourselves all the time? Yeah.
It's your I mean, I really relate to you since you're running a health and wellness brand business. It is, I've fallen into that trap myself. I became so excited over the acceleration and the success or the progress. And I also have gone through burnout, but as I've become a lot more intentional and conscious and aware of finding the balance, I also notice when I'm doing that for myself, my business is doing better. And when I'm burning myself out, and I can't see the causation, but the correlation is so clear that now I have to prioritize my own well-being for the sake of the business.
Yeah. Isn't that so interesting? I love that. Thank you for saying that because I feel the same way. And that has been an intentional thing that I've had to work really, really hard at to tell
Yeah.
myself it is important that I go do all of my
What are the
health and
things that you do? Like, how are you in your life now?
yeah. So one of the core one at this phase in this moment, one of my core practices is I work with a gentle chiropractor who works on the
Mhm.
nervous system. And I go every week,
Mhm.
and it's really important. It has expanded my capacity, my regulation, my resiliency, healing a lot of things that I've been working through my own burnout as well,
Yeah. Mhm.
uh, that are still with me in some way, shape, or form. Uh, Up until December, I would say, I was doing breath work and cold plunges. Um, in a very intentional, like do the breath work and then cold plunge to, that was for me
Yeah.
in the stage of I can do anything. I need this to feel that way. But I do all the things. I do massage therapy, salt. I do a lot. But
That's great.
it's important, right? Like again, it's not doing it um, outside of the business. It's instead integrating that these things are supportive to making the business work. And that's been a huge kind of knot to unwind for me. I'd love to hear what your practices are and what you do.
I'm happy to hear. I mean, just hearing you mention about your chiropractor helped me remember I used to go see a chiropractor who was also gentle too, and it is such a great feeling that you have after that body alignment and the nervous system. My practices are really right now it's breath work. I have a breath work coach, so I do a facilitated practice 3 times a month, and then some fit in breath work sessions by myself during the week here and there, and then we recently changed, I started taking off Friday afternoons, so I would quit work at 2, and then while my son's in school until he's 4, so until I have to get him at 5:30, have those 3 hours to myself, and that doesn't maybe I go to yoga, but sometimes it's, like, just time to do my own life admin,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Husband.
Yeah.
So it sounds silly and it's like so small, but it's really been a good change. Just to even say I'm making time in my calendar for myself and I'm not giving it to anyone else for anything.
Yeah. I love
So
that. I love
mhm.
that. I think that's so underrated as far as like a supportive enabler for us as
Mhm.
women who are in that sandwich generation of doing all the things. I call it like peak adulting, right? Like we're in charge of everything right now and oh my God. just need a moment to be me and not something for somebody else in this moment. Just me.
Yeah.
Just me.
Yeah.
I love that. How long have you been doing breath work?
It has not been a long time. I think about a year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
very
Since I
cool.
discovered it. But you know, a little bit of plant medicine has been part of my journey and was part of the journey of creating Baloo. But then
Mhm.
I've discovered with breathwork sessions, I can have like truly a psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
And then I get up off my mat and I go to the grocery store and
Wait like 24 hours? Yeah.
completely kind of back to being grounded. It's just such an incredible, powerful tool that I never would have expected. I can remember someone telling me that they had a breathwork coach at their bespoke gym, and I was like, "A coach for breathing? What?" And now I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's really powerful."
I was reading something the other day that was like, breath is the only thing that works for us without us thinking about it and that we can control. And it was just the way it was phrased. Sometimes you just read those things and you're like, oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is
Okay, well, I have
cool.
to borrow that sentence and segue it into something that I love about weighted blankets
Please.
because they are something that you put on your body and then your body just does the rest. Like there's this automatic response to the weight, and
Yeah.
there's a cascade of responses, and you automatically feel better. And what I love about it is that contrast it to other wellness modalities where you have to take an active role, like breath work, for example. You have to sit down and work hard to get into that, or meditation. You have to be very intentional and it takes effort. This is something you just put on and then you surrender and you get the benefit of it. So,
I am a user, and so I am with you. And I love this other thing that I'm gonna offer to you, and please take and use, which is
yeah.
addition by subtraction.
Yes.
How can we do less to do more, which is kind of the self-care side of things, but also sometimes, and especially in this modern world, we're
Hmm.
doing all the things and we think, okay, well, I have to add yoga class. I have to add breath work. I have to add this. It's like, I don't have capacity to add. And so it's actually like, how do I take things off? And the weighted blanket is definitely an amazing tool for that.
Yeah, and it's something that you can put it into your bedding, and so it's something you don't ever have to think about again. It's just there, and you can get the benefits every night. And I'm with you on that. I think that in wellness, there's been a trend toward um, like competitive wellness, like how well can you get through all of the modalities and like gear and tech to buy, and like really your body is the true source of wisdom. So you don't necessarily need more to get in connection with that wisdom. It's
Yeah.
there with you and it's free of charge.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't require a subscription or a credit card or any of those things. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So I'm curious, let's spend a little bit of time talking about the weight and what does the weight facilitate for us, whether we're sleeping or we're using it during the day.
So it works through something called deep pressure touch, which is the same mechanism that getting a massage works through to relax the body, or being held or hugged, or being like swaddled as a baby. And I always think that like we're all babies, so like let's swaddle ourselves. So there's not like a ton of research, quantitative research on weighted blankets, but there are many published studies on deep pressure touch. And what the studies show is that through the application of the deep pressure on the body, the chemical changes that happen in the brain, hormonal changes, are an increase of serotonin, which is the feel good hormone that we know. And serotonin naturally converts to melatonin. So that's why we find ourselves slipping into sleep more easily. And there's also a decrease of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And these are natural biological responses to deep pressure touch. So that's what's happening with a weighted blanket. And then from there, you can talk about sleep and the benefits of sleep and what's going on in the body and why we need sleep and what's happening. And I'm not a sleep expert, I mean, doctor or anything like that. I've read a lot of books about sleep to educate myself. so
Yeah.
that I can come here and talk to you like about it. But like I'll just say that's a disclaimer on the extent of my knowledge. But from all that I've learned, sleep reduces risk of cardiovascular health in
Mhm.
problems, cancer, Alzheimer's, we know depression, weight gain and weight loss are regulated through the hormones that are regulated during sleep. So like if you're short on sleep or sleep deprived, people have a tendency to eat more because they're looking for that sugar for the energy boost, and that's how you end up gaining weight
Yeah.
versus being well rested. And the two hormones are ghrelin and leptin, but then you have the high enough level of, I think leptin is the one that tells you that you're satiated or full. So, real correlation to sleep or tiredness and weight. Um, Performance improvements, like athletes get injured more if they're not getting more than 8 hours of sleep per night. Car accidents, we know it's like driving drunk. That's
Yeah.
frequently mentioned. Um, so, like on a cellular level, the cell's taking out the garbage at night while you sleep. And if you don't let that happen and it can't repair itself, your body's just degrading because it can't clean and repair on a cellular level. And there's probably
Yeah.
a lot more, for sure, there's a lot more complicated scientific information that could be said about that. But like, we know if we're tired, we don't feel good.
Yeah. Like,
And
I don't, yes, all the science is wonderful. Thank you for validating what I actually experience in my body, right? Like,
right,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, and also so like what we have found, and so like in talking to customers and surveying customers, what we found out is that most people are not coming because they can't fall asleep. It's more often that they have that 3 or 4 a.m. wake up and then they can't get back to sleep. So that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And so weighted blankets have been shown to help with that. I can't say it's a panacea, but it definitely can help. We have customers saying like they're sleeping through the night or having their first night of good sleep in years. Um, so that's really like rewarding to hear from people.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, yes. Well, I
Mhm.
can say for me personally, if I can, that it has been one of the most supportive tools for me. So I talked about all the other things that I do, but the weighted blanket is a consistent on my bed. My half, my husband has one, his own, but prefers not to sleep with it. I'm
Yeah.
working on it. But but I can tell you that a couple of years ago, in earlier stages of building this organization, I was going through some really stressful, existential, who am I? What's happening? This is really stressful. And there were multiple days where I was like, I just need to go to my bed, get under the weighted blanket in the dark for a few minutes, remind my body that we're safe, and that even though this is very stressful, we don't have to experience it like that. And so you have given me a tool to use to be able to bring other things into the world, because it really has been incredibly supportive for me personally. And I use it every night. It's like, it is my bedding now. And it is, I would take it on vacation with me if I could.
Oh, it's so wonderful for me to hear. Thank you. We work like so hard every day on like the back end of the business, and it's, not often that I actually talk to people and get the real like feedback. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. And as a parent who, um, cares deeply about my children's sleep, and, even just, I've learned personally, and not everybody does, but I've learned personally through my children's experience in the world and how they both experience it differently. Lots of different modalities for them in particular, what works for them, what doesn't, and everybody's a little bit different. But I actually have a child-sized version as well that I originally bought for my son because he was having a lot of emotional and developmental challenges and sensory challenges. And he's not as prone to it, but my daughter adores the blanket and she calls it her Huggy blanket. And she's like, when I can't fall asleep, like I need my Huggy blanket. And when I put my Huggy blanket on, I can fall asleep. And
Oh.
yeah, it's really, it's really empowering as a parent to feel like you have a tool
Mhm.
that is not a pill, is not a questionable supplement, or I don't really know what this is doing in my body, but it's just blanket that, sure, I could actually pile like 5 blankets on top of her, right? But
Yeah.
um, to have that tool and for her to be able to feel that comfort, that is parental empowerment at its greatest. So a little bit
That's
more.
everything.
Yeah, right? Like I would do anything for them. I have done any and everything for them, and I'm
Yeah.
always looking for those resources. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. My son uses one too. He calls it his heavy blanket.
His heavy blanket.
But then he also wants a cuddle. So we do the heavy blanket and the cuddle.
Of course. Of course. Because there's human touch is still really powerful too. But yes, we're often cuddled underneath it. So I love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Um, I would love because in particular, the product that you've created, and yes, it is a weighted blanket and it helps us with sleep and some of these scientific components. But I would love to hear a little bit more about your passion around this product because what I see in your development of this product as a person who cares deeply about um, um, not just the tool, but
Mm.
the what the tool is made of. And you have been so thorough in your product selections, how the blanket is created, what fabric you're using, what dyes you're using. I know we've had exchanges about that. And so I just love to hear, like, tell me a little bit more about that component because that sets you apart in my
Oh,
eyes.
yeah. Thank you. I mean, so first of all, this is a product that's such a personal, it's really an experience for people. It's not so much about the product, but you're having this experience in reconnecting and feeling safe and grounded in your body, which is really intimate and precious. And so when I was thinking about starting a business, I mean, I had a classic sense of like guilt, I guess, which was like, am I going to mass produce something and then like ship it and make a consumer brand? Like, is that even aligned with my values? And that was a reflex, thought that came to me. And then I realized that money is energy. I want the money to flow to good people. I want the money to flow to me. I trust myself to do good with the money. And if I want to sit on the sidelines and critique capitalism, it makes no difference to capitalism. But if I participate, I can have a positive influence and offer something to people that is better than what otherwise might be available. And so we started there, and I felt like the brand really was channeling to me. It wasn't like me figuring it out. It was just gifted to me from the divine or whatever creator. I was open and receptive to hearing the message. So I got it. And so we've tried to do everything in alignment with making the best choices that we can for the environment and for customers. So it's been a learning process because in the beginning, I had never designed this blanket. We initially launched with a cotton version that had polyester lining and it came packed in a plastic poly bag and then in a box. Now we've stripped out all the polyester, so we have only cotton. It's got an OEKO-TEX certification, so that means it's clean from any of the commonly found or any really chemicals that could be found or used in processing textiles. And we're carbon neutral with an organization called Sea Trees, which we used to be certified through another organization, which I'm sure they also do great work, but they were larger and more global. And I met Sea Trees and I love the work they're doing. So they're reforesting blue ocean ecosystems. So that's kelp and mangrove forests around the world, which sequester up to 5 times more carbon than the rainforest from the atmosphere. And then we double our offset. So, like, yes, we want to do no harm, but we also want to help the environment recover. So we do double our offset they call it ocean positive, to be an ocean positive brand. And we've pulled out plastic from any of our packaging. So we do that. And I think the dye you mentioned was our kids' blanket. Colors that we introduced came out using vegetable-based dyes. So we did a series of veggie-based dyes We had to end it after a while, so we don't do that anymore because the color was too unstable. But we still have the OEKO-TEX certification, so we know it's still a clean product. And then we've had since the beginning a partnership with the nonprofit called Pajama program, and they help work with children in vulnerable populations like foster care, homeless shelters, other low income groups. To it used to be initially they would give a set of pajamas and a book to kids to establish a bedtime routine because their founder was volunteering in a shelter and met some children who had never had a pair of pajamas of their own. And it was like, if you can give kids in volatile situations something to anchor to, that's helping them. And the program's expanded to now like education around sleep for caregivers as well, teachers and caregivers. So we work with them. And I know that the reason that I wanted to do that was because I feel like the whole world is vibrating on energy basically. And so it's not only about how can we help people with our products, but how can we uplift this vibration that we're all on together by serving children or
Yeah.
anyone vulnerable in positions where we can. So we've done other campaigns with other groups, but that's been our long-term partner. So, I mean, and then being able to have a product that really helps people feel good and be able to sleep and that works, and we have a lifetime quality guarantee, so if anything ever happens, just let us know, we'll replace it. My mom used to do our customer service for the first 3 years, and we would still have customers call back and be like, "Where's Nancy? What happened to Nancy?" She retired, but she's still like our biggest fan, of course.
I love that.
So
Yes.
So I'm just grateful, and I can't believe that this brand that I honestly thought was going to be a side project. I never in my wildest dreams would have believed that it would become what I do full time. But it happened quickly in 2018, right after we launched. We got a piece of press and we sold out, and like it was off after that. So my sister left her corporate job in 2020, right? A week before COVID, honestly, to come work with me. And so now it's the two of us. We have a team of 6 all together. Um, but it's a dream come true.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I
Well, I just
think
did a lot, but thank you for the question.
oh yeah, no, I want all the scoop, right? Like, yes, this is about weighted blankets, but it's also about conscious entrepreneurship, right? That
Yeah.
it is possible to build businesses consciously. And that doesn't mean we don't have to make decisions like, hey, this vegetable dye might not work in this specific
Mhm.
product. And that's, we explored it though, and we learned from it. And that now I can say to you, here's, yes, I have and I want to, and also it just isn't functional in that capacity. And that's the benefit of the modern world that we have, right? And at the same time, how do we take the opportunity to really consciously make decisions at every turn? I love that.
Great. And one of the things that we do is just so small, but it's like if you call our customer service line, a person will answer. You don't have to go through a phone tree. Because I think like when you call a line and then you have to go through, it's so dehumanizing. It's like, how can we be of service to people? I mean, even if they're calling to complain or they don't shop with us, what can we do to serve people,
Yeah,
basically?
yeah. Just humans working with humans,
Right.
right? Like I just that's why we're here, right? To be
Yeah.
human, to have a human experience, not to shortcut the experience, not to shortcut our body. And I couldn't agree with you more on the vibrational up level. And I think I deeply resonate with that. And um helping more people feel safe, I think is ultimately what shifts the planet, the
Right.
whole energy that it isn't, we've been taught or believed to some degree that we have to save the planet, that we have to save it's outside of us. And while we should actively be a good citizen and participant and conscious about it, I think right now it's a real inside job.
Mhm.
And the more we can give people access to doing that inside job, I think there's just more change, just like you said about um, taking the time for yourself and then seeing the correlation in the business. That's so
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
Oh, wow. There's so much there in what you just said.
Yes. Oh, let's do
Mm.
it.
Like like, how much time do we have to talk about this topic?
I will say as long as you want. This is my jam to talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in my one of my plant medicine journeys, that was a big question for me, and this was before I launched the business, but I had this big question, which was, how does a person go through life on the planet if we care about the environment or care about the earth, and yet, like, I'm using single-use plastic, it's, like, impossible. What do I do? And the message that I received was just a glimpse of the infinite power of the planet Earth. Like she's a wildly, terribly powerful entity,
Yep.
power. And it
How
was like,
dare we take away her power?
it is futile to think about saving the Earth as if
Yes.
hilarious. However, I do want to have the experience of being in harmony and in connection with her. That
Yes.
is to my own benefit.
Yes.
And so, like, this is an inquiry I'm in right now, like, very deeply, and I think more so since becoming a mom, of how do I, and also just the brutality that we see in kind of the modern world now that's becoming more and more visible. We can't avoid it. How do I reconnect with source, which is the earth? And by default, it's not easy to connect. You have to be intentional, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, And so that's what I'll have to say about that. But then the other thing about feeling it being an inside job is when I do breath work, I do feel like it helps me access something that is in some ways more impactful for the good of the collective than any kind of identity-based activity I could take on the outside. And I don't have to understand that to know that is true. And it doesn't mean that I don't take actions
Yeah.
as my identity in the world, activism or whatever kind of actions that I think are important to take, but that this energetic work is far more powerful in shifting what's
Yeah.
happening on earth.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I love that. And I have had similar visions or experiences. It's like, how dare you think that she needs saving and that you are going to do it or that it's all your job. And also in the like, take the weight off of your shoulders.
Yeah.
Which has been really important for me to remember that it isn't just me that has to do it all. um, and I had just because you were talking about that vision, I've had one that's similarly impactful to me that if we could uh, access a place from a humanity perspective where we could all just decide that the earth was healed or the vision that we want and we all just decided that was true, it just would be true because it is we're just projecting a version that we've kind of been sold and told. And so how can we just it's as simple as that, even though our human minds want to make it more complicated. And it just drives me all the time to say, how can I just shift my viewpoint or my perspective and see it the way it is
Mhm.
ultimately. Um,
That's beautiful. I've had that thought before, not specifically about the environment, but sort of like the world at large.
yeah.
We don't allow a lot of space for dreaming of ideal. We have a lot of energy toward what we don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
just powers it.
Yeah.
Right. And I say, that I've unsubscribed. Doesn't mean it's not there and I don't have compassion and empathy. And I had to unhook my power source and
Mhm.
plug it in somewhere else, right? And so, how can we just almost walk within two worlds at the same time, but really flow our
Mhm.
energy the new world. Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard. It's not easy. And some days you get sucked in big time, but
Mhm.
I really believe that if more people can learn how to unhook and rehook, that
Mhm.
that's the big
That's the change.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Um, well, another plug for travel, if this whole conversation hasn't been a plug for travel, but I went to Costa Rica for a few weeks in last year, at the end of last year. And, just being able to have the luxury, it's a luxury, but to be able to change your environment and it's not that everywhere on the world doesn't have its own propaganda or its own machines of communication, but when you get outside of your own, you don't enter like I didn't plug into Costa Rica's thing, I was outside of it for a while. And so I came back and I have completely shifted my habits and my patterns and I installed an app on my phone that limits my screen time, not my screen time, but my usage of certain apps. And I no longer I'm just more conscious about all of the information diet, which is, could be a whole podcast, but information
Yes.
diet has such an impact on our health as well.
Yes. Yes. Oh, absolutely, right? And to thread it back to like the value of a weighted blanket or calming and nervous system, right? We're ingesting a lot of cortisol.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's the information that we're ingesting. And like it isn't I think it's important that we all remember um we haven't done anything wrong. I think we tend to beat ourselves up. We were talking about this earlier of like now sleep is an extreme sport and I have an app that, did I do good enough? And like it's kind of perpetuating the same patterns with wellness rather than rewiring those patterns. And so information is the same thing, right? Like what am I ingesting? And am I ingesting cortisol or am I ingesting serotonin? And
Right.
how am
Yeah,
I?
I've been building playlists for myself now, so I have, like, music that makes me feel really good when I'm driving instead of news, which I used to listen to by default,
Yep.
and I don't know any less, like, you really can't escape it. I know everything that's going on,
Yeah.
but my mental health is so much better for the
Oh,
shift. Yeah.
oh yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah, it's funny because it's like I know things. I'm not oblivious to things that are
Yeah.
happening, but I also am not in it in the same way that I used to be. And that's
Mhm.
yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I love that.
Mhm.
The music is such a cool component to mental health as well, and the
Mhm.
ability to shift our mindset or our patterns. I love that. Yay. Oh my goodness. All right, where should we go next? So
I'll tell
I'd
you
love
where
to hear.
I'm going.
Yeah, please tell me.
Tuesday for the first time since before pandemic. So I'll
Yeah.
be there for 7 weeks. I haven't been in so long and I'm so excited. Um, my functional medicine doctor just did a report on me, a lab test on me, and it came back with a burnt out adrenals, which is like a testament to like not living the way that I preach, if you know what I
Yes.
mean.
Yes.
Um, but
Yes.
I've been like really taking care of myself. I feel so much better from like the supplement plan that she put me on. And I think this trip is just going to be like I don't know, like one for a lifetime. Like I just have such a good feeling about being able to go back there and reconnect with kind of where this all started. So you said,
Oh,
where are we going? I was like, that's where I'm going.
yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear what happens because that's
Mhm.
exciting. And
But what were you gonna say?
oh, I was just gonna say that um oh, I love that like reality check of like this is how health works that in this moment in time on this planet, right? That I had somebody say to me the other day, yeah, because I know how to be healthy, but I constantly forget.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes even those of us that feel really compelled in this space, like, oh wow, I didn't realize it's a slippery slope, right? And sometimes we need to disconnect, to reconnect and really understand like what's happening or somebody to help us recognize that.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it also points to the way that our current way of life isn't organized to support health. All the things that you want to do to be healthy that take initiative, prioritization, whereas there's another reality possible where our lives are organically or naturally healthier. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know, this isn't a topic I spend a lot of time talking about, but I could just spitball some ideas right there. That would be like, having places walking distance, living more in community instead of in a grid of squares, growing some of our own food or having food locally sourced where we have a relationship. And I think that one of the things that's happened to us, and this, we kind of touched on this briefly earlier in our conversation, but in our efforts to make our world more friction free, we've made them so convenient at the cost of human interaction. And as things have become more consolidated and more corporate, our interactions are with people who are far removed from power and a little bit underpaid, struggling, unhealthy. And, that's these people are not, these are our neighbors. These are this is our community. These are our people. And we're just not taking care of each other
Yeah.
as a system.
Right, right. We really aren't. A couple of years ago, one of the things that I would talk about pretty frequently was communities of isolation. That
Hmm.
we have 1,000 Facebook friends or Instagram followers or whatever that is, but I don't have anybody to watch my cat when I'm out of town because I don't
Right.
know my neighbors. I haven't built relationships with the people that are right next door to me. And
Mhm.
that's an over exaggeration for me personally, but I think that that's systemically, we've just, to your point, like we've focused on
Exhausted.
convenience or efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a project to undo some of that, and I don't really know where to begin. But it's a local job, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think you are beginning, right, by being curious about it, and I think that's the best thing we can invite people into is
Mhm.
how can we just be more curious about how we're spending our time? What apps am I spending my time on? I don't even know, right? Can we just start to open that awareness on each of those little pieces? I don't think it's a big to do. It's a tiny micro shifts. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That compile over time. Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you're gonna go back to Bali and enjoy that, and I can only imagine what's gonna come out of this as a conscious entrepreneur. Um, what do you see happening for the entity? I really resonate with that. That's how I feel about my business too, that it is an entity that I just happen to be the receiver and the human that gets to birth it into the world, but it has its
Yeah.
own plan that I'm not always privy to.
Um, I am really like working on the vision of what kind of products we continue to offer to people. And I think that my sister is a stakeholder too now, so it's the two of us that have ownership. But we're really looking to build a healthy long-term business that supports us, that we can keep doing. And I feel really lucky because I don't know a lot of people that don't have a boss, who also don't have to answer to a board or investors. I mean, we're just a small self-funded business, but it's enough for us to go on. And um, we're exploring some new product development right now, which is linen weighted blankets, which are, I think, I love linen. Okay, so I know there's personal preference. Some people don't like it, they think it looks wrinkly. I happen to love it. I love it. So we're developing a linen version right now, and um, I just think that I recently realized that the world. So let me try to say this articulately. When this all began 8 years ago, I was so super clear on what the world was and what the product was and why it was this magical, perfect fit. And then the world has continued to evolve and change quickly. And I think that even in the last year or two with AI and so many changes are accelerating for people the multiple roles that we have to play as parents, as children, as, all of these things that we have to juggle at the same time, with it seems like if more levels of uncertainty, people are carrying heavier loads than ever. And so, how can we just reconnect with the current reality of what is going on in people's worlds and meet them where they are? Um, and really just to be able to connect with more people, and whether it's through the product or simply the messaging, um,
Mhm. Mhm.
to help, I don't know, like somehow lighten the load.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're in that moment where the vast majority of people need a breath, right? Like just a breath.
Mhm.
We can do so much, but sometimes we just need that little bit of relief to even access the part that allows us to question, should I do it this way or should I not, right? We can't even get to that part of our brain if we can't catch our breath.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
I love that. Well, while yes, I struggle, I have linen pants and I love them. And also, why does it stretch and wrinkle? I love linen. And I'm curious because you opened this door. Have you done any research into the vibrational frequency of fabrics?
I have tried. I've seen some things. I have yet to be able to find like the definitive source of this data that is
Yeah.
out there
Okay.
about the frequency of fabrics.
Yeah.
However, so yes, like I've seen that is it hemp is at 1,000, and I think linen is right under it at the
Yeah.
highest vibrational frequency, and then cotton is below hemp, but also very positive, and then polyesters are below the
Yeah.
human level, which is sounds like what is the human level? Like 100 or
So I think it's right around 100. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and polyester is something like 20. Like it's just horrible.
Yeah.
So I have been sleeping on our linen sheets now for a while, and if I'm staying somewhere and I'm not on linen or cotton, it's polyester or a bamboo viscose, which people think is eco-friendly and it's not. Um, I notice, like I really notice, and I feel the difference. And so, um,
Yeah.
same way that I feel about crystals, which is like I don't know that there's science behind crystals, but I know that I can feel them. And it's not because I'm trying to feel them. It happened first, and then I said, "What was that?"
Yeah.
So it wasn't placebo effect. It was like something happened. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I feel about the frequency of fabric. But
Yeah.
that's why we only use natural fibers, no
Yeah.
polyester, like natural all the way.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you make my heart sing in all of those ways because I feel like there's been so many different things that I've tried over the years that are like, okay, this is great. And wait, why is it in a plastic bottle?
Right.
Or how can I know, and I'm working on reclaiming my relationship with plastic. Um, my son has actually been a big contributor to that I try really hard to pay attention to where I'm rejecting things because that's just as powerful as like and so
In
I
terms
try
of
to
giving your energy, you don't want to give too much negative energy to anything and say that's bad, right?
yeah, yeah.
Just want to say
Yeah.
like, "Okay, and I choose this."
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like plastic is here for a reason. It offers a lot of value. I can appreciate what it offers rather than saying plastic, no.
Mhm.
Like I reject, like it cannot be plastic, right? Because I'm giving way too much energy to the rejection component of it rather than reclaiming it. And so I'm working on that. And there's so many things that I struggle because I'm like, well, this could have been a glass jar instead of a plastic jar. And I know that it might be a little bit more challenging, but we can do the hard things, can't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. And yeah, I'll be curious if you ever find, and I'll see if I have any sources for the vibrations, but
Mhm.
when you said linen, I was thinking of that because I've always heard linen as a higher frequency than cotton. Cotton's good, and also some of the frequencies are a little bit higher. And so, how can we
Yeah.
help people experience that?
Well, and I'll say too, like, temperature regulation is very important for sleep. I think that the official recommendation for the temperature to have your bedroom is 65, which to me sounds really low, but there's 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 reasons for that. But linen is better for temperature regulation because it's a thicker fiber, it's super absorbent, and it wicks moisture off the body. So for all those reasons, that's why it's a summer fabric. It's much more cooling.
Yeah. Oh,
Cotton's
that
also
makes
cooling. But a twill is more cooling than a sateen, because of the weave.
okay.
Um, but that's another reason why we use cotton and linen in our products is because when you're sleeping, you don't want to overheat. And that's the biggest question people have is if a weighted blanket will make them hot because you hear heavy and think like, oh, winter quilt, and it's just not like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I should have
Yeah.
said that in the beginning of our entire conversation because that's the biggest thing that people say, um, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I that's such an important distinction, right? To be able to separate those two words and say, yes, heavy, and also, and glass beads rather
Mhm.
than,
Oh gosh, at the time, the biggest companies were using these plastic pellets, and it was like, why would you buy a bag of plastic to put on your body?
yeah,
And it was really expensive. It was just such a ripoff. So yes, I'm glad that
bulky. I have an old one that was like, it was huge and yeah, all plastic. And then I saw yours and I was like, oh, thank goodness. It's like manageable.
Like, right. The New York Times wrote a piece about us, which was like the best thing that ever happened, but they called it the pencil skirt of weighted blankets. I was like, love your words.
Yes. Well done. I love
Mhm.
that. Yeah, yeah. All that matters, right? Like that's really cool. That's really cool.
Mhm.
And the fabrics and supporting and just that knowledge base and you offering that knowledge of like being conscious of what you're sleeping on because you're spending 8 hours hopefully on
Yeah.
these materials. And so how can we be a little bit more aware of what we're absorbing through our skin, we forget how important that
Mhm.
component is and even our face, on our pillow, what's in the pillow. It's a
Yeah.
rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. That's why you need to be well rested so you can continue to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, well, I could keep going on this conversation, but that feels like that was the perfect conclusion to this conversation. And I would love to offer you, Elizabeth, to share a little bit more. Is there anything else you would point people to? We will certainly link to a lot of things in the description, but any last
Um,
thoughts?
no, I think we've really covered it. If you want me to say something about where to find us, I don't know if would you want to direct people to the Holistic Health Hub?
I would love that. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the brand is Baloo Living, and we are partnered with the Holistic Health Hub, so you can find us there.
Yay, amazing. And we will link to it so everybody can find and explore all of your products and all the amazing things that you're consciously bringing to this planet. Thank you for the work that you do because it is shifting everything and creating that opportunity for more people to access that part of themselves that is connected to source and the ability to make more conscious decisions. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
You're welcome. All right. And for everybody that tuned into this episode, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.